I'm going to give you just one example of that in a small way. This is a real small example. Let's just say that early in my life, I noticed that I would tell little fibs, not great big lies, but little fibs like I can't make it in time for the basketball game because I've got to get the firewood into the house before winter comes, so I can't, or how you doing today? I feel fine. Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for asking. The little kinds of little white lies. Let's just say that a person noticed, let's just pretend that I noticed that I would tell little white lies like that in my life to get past the moment. They weren't terribly injurious to anybody, didn't damage anything, just wasn't true, or it wasn't totally true. Okay, now let's say I noticed that. Now let's say that one day I decided, you know what, I really want to be more truthful. In fact, I want to be the epitome of truth. I want to really practice the 5 levels of truth-telling that we talked about in a previous lesson. So I'm going to really now set my course. I'm going to create myself as a person who always tells the truth about everyone to everything. Now, if I'm clear now that that's what I'm trying to do, suddenly I have a context within which to hold my consideration of the behaviors that come up for me as options, as choices in my life. So then somebody calls me and says, you want to go to dinner tomorrow night? How about you and your wife join us for dinner tomorrow night? I have an option. I can tell a little white lie, if I don't want to go, but I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I can tell a little white lie. Well, yeah, it'd be fun, Jim, but tomorrow night I got to, and make up something. Or I'm really overworked right now. I got to get some work done at the office late or whatever. Or, however, if I know what I'm trying to do, if I know what my agenda is, to start telling the truth about everything to everyone, then I would say, Jim, I really don't feel like having dinner with you guys tonight. I love you a lot. I love you enough not to want to hurt your feelings, actually. So I hope this doesn't hurt your feeling. But right now, tonight, I'm just not really in the mood to have dinner with you and your wife. Could we get a chance to do it maybe next week? Could I call you back and do this at a time, because I don't want to never have dinner with you in my life, just not tonight. How would that feel? Not tomorrow night. And then we suddenly have a clear path. We understand. Our choices become more clear. Now, take that example that I gave you and spread it across your whole life. Most people don't know what they're trying to do. I mean, with their whole life. There is something that you're trying to do. There's a grand context, I'll call it, within which we can hold the entirety of our life that answers the question, why are we here? I mean, on the earth, why are we in the body? And what am I trying to do in the largest sense with the totality of my life? What is my objective? What is my purpose? What is my function? What is my mission? What is my goal? What am I trying to do between now and the time that I die? Most people, I want to say again, would not be able to answer that question. Or if they could, they wouldn't answer it very specifically. I'm suggesting to you that when you are clear what you're trying to do, then you don't have to worry about right and wrong. Then you can fall easily into, is it functional? That is my behavior. Is my choice one that works or one that does not work? What God understands is that most people have no idea what they're trying to do. And so in God's experience, understanding replaces forgiveness. I want to have that be the final portion of our forgiveness process. If in your movement, if in your movement to forgive someone, in that place where you move emotionally from resentment, anger, or whatever it is to forgiveness, if in that movement you pass through the corridor of understanding, you'll get that forgiveness is not even necessary. When we understand why a person did what they did, it is no longer necessary for us to forgive them. We say, oh, I understand. I don't agree with your behavior, but I understand. I understand why you would do what you did. I'm very clear about that. And And so with understanding, when understanding comes, the need to forgiveness disappears and goes away. And that is true in the behavior of the soul. That is, when understanding comes, forgiveness is not necessary in the experience of the soul. So that's what I mean when I say that forgiveness is really unnecessary. And you'll find that's to be true. You'll find that to be true as well in your own life. So understanding the behavior of another is the key. That's the clue. That's the corridor through which you want to make sure you travel. And I want to also make it clear to you that in my experience, there's very little in the behavior of another that I have not seen in myself in some form or another. Maybe I didn't do the exact same thing, but the larger, shall I use the word offense? The larger offense. Well, who said there are 7 deadly sins? You know, greed, avarice, vice, you know, whatever it is, lust, whatever the so-called 7 deadly sins are. When we get to that level, when we raise our observation to the level of that perspective, we begin to see that there is no behavior that someone else has exhibited in our life that we have not demonstrated to someone else. I felt betrayed by him. Have I ever betrayed anyone in my life? Yeah. I felt lied to by him. Have I ever lied to anyone else in my life? Yep. I felt cheated by this person. Have I ever cheated anyone else in my life? Yep. And all I've ever had to do when I really want to move through the forgiveness process is remember a time when I have done the same kind of thing. Maybe I didn't do that exact same thing, but remember a time when I have done the same kind of thing. And look to see if I could then transfer my own clarity about what would allow me to do that. Why, I know it's not the nicest thing to do. Why? How could I allow myself to do that? And then transfer that clarity to the other person in the form of understanding which replaces forgiveness. Yeah. So that's basically the forgiveness process. And I have discovered by using that process that it's not been necessary anymore for me to forgive anybody in my life for anything. And if I am not clear about that, using this forgiveness process, then I will use what I call soul logic, which is really a powerful, powerful process. That is the way that we get in touch with the wisdom of the soul that brings us that understanding that I've now been talking about. So the soul logic process is what I'd like to share with you next. But let me just wrap this up a little bit by talking about why forgiveness is sometimes an impediment to spiritual growth. It actually stops spiritual growth. Forgiveness is an impediment to spiritual growth because it's your announcement that you think that something can happen to you that was not supposed to happen. It's your announcement that you think that something can happen to you over which you had no control. It is your announcement that you think that at some level you have been, even if it's only in a small way, victimized by life. That something can occur in your experience that you have not had any role, even a complicit role, in creating. As soon as you are clear that non-participation in the experiences of your life is impossible, that it is impossible for you to not participate creatively in all the experiences of your life. As soon as you're clear that non-participation is impossible, forgiveness is really not required. You simply need to notice and be aware of the process you chose to engage in order to experience the particular growth and come to a place of the particular understanding at which you have now arrived. So, if you think you need to forgive someone, you are still holding the thought that they did something to you that you did not want to have happen. Such a thing is impossible given who and what you are. And I'm now going to show you how that's true. The soul logic process is a 7-question process that allows a person very quickly, in 15 or 20 minutes time, to access the wisdom of the soul and to get to a place where understanding replaces forgiveness. Here are the 7 questions in the soul logic process. And if I was dealing with somebody who had an issue right now, I would ask these 7 questions.